Coming up on Mountain News this morning, officials are looking into providing more resources for mothers battling addiction. And the first of 500 plus applicants received their home buyout check following the July 2022 floods.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Madison Carmouche. It is 6 a.m. on this Friday morning, and I am looking forward to the weekend. So let's send it over to meteorologist Tim Drawbridge for a look at your forecast.
And it's not too far away, Madison. 61 outside our door here at WYMT. And dealing with the fog again this morning. We know the routine in the fire drill. Down to 5 miles again at Harlan. Now toward Williamsburg, back up to a mile. So extra time as you make your way out the door this morning with that extra cup of coffee, glass of water, or some OJ. Temperature-wise in the 60s, 63. Good morning, Manchester, 64 at Prestonsburg. Got some cloud cover issues from Jackson to the north and west. We saw that on the webcam view from Moorhead last half hour, and yeah, a couple of raindrops too. Don't worry, we're going to keep it dry today, but this little wrinkle will end up trying to rotate over us over the next couple of days. That means the slightest risk of a shower Saturday and Sunday. In the meantime, for today, a lot of sunshine and a forecast high of close to 90. More about the First Alert 7-day forecast as we head through this 6 o'clock hour. Madison?
Tim, thank you. Advocates for domestic violence victims are finding ways to further support victims. With the release of the 2022 Domestic Violence Data Report, LKLP Safe House Program Director Eileen Rose says spouses and significant others are reported as perpetrators of abuse. She says shelters are there to help keep them safe and support them.
One of the things that this data is showing us, and one of the things that we have seen statistically throughout the country, is 80% of domestic violence homicides happen after that person has left or is in the process of leaving. That's why shelters like ours, that's why shelters across the state exist, to help protect them, because that is the most dangerous time when that person, when the perpetrator, the aggressor, feels like they're losing control.
Rose said they are still looking through the data to see what can be improved statewide. Advocates are talking about helping expectant mothers in addiction. Last month, police launched a search after 8-month-old Maya Rudd was reported missing. She was found dead in her home. They say when she was born, meth was found in her umbilical cord. Now leaders are talking about resources available for mothers in addiction. Nicholas Chirinos is with a family addiction recovery center in Bowling Green. He says there is a lack of resources.
What we want to do is take care of our neighbor. That's what we're supposed to be doing, not just because we're a treatment organization, but because we're human beings. We should be looking out for those that are in need, especially our priority 1 population, which is our pregnant population.
The National Center on Substance Abuse and Child Welfare's website offers resources for pregnant women facing substance use disorders. Starting next week, Kentucky's Move Over law will change. The Slow Down Move Over law requires drivers to slow down or change lanes when vehicles are on the side of the road. Currently, the law protects law enforcement, highway crews, tow truck operators, and other roadside workers. But starting Monday, it will include all stranded motorists. AAA has been working for years to get the law expanded.
It's something that should be, the logical, smart thing to do, but it's important to build the awareness about it.
Weaver Hawkins says this new law will reduce any confusion drivers have when it comes to knowing when to move over and will ensure drivers can get to their destination safely. The Supreme Court overturned the 1984 Chevron decision just last month. Now we're getting reaction from Kentucky lawmakers. The ruling curtails the government's regulating power around the environment, public health, and workplace safety. The Chevron decision instructed lower courts to defer to federal agencies when laws are not crystal clear. Senator Rand Paul says Kentucky business owners told him that these regulations were affecting their businesses, but making changes before was out of his hands.
I was surprised by this. I've been here 2 terms, and to this date, we still haven't voted on any specific regulations on business, and yet hundreds of regulations have been written that throttle business activity in our country.
President Biden has defended the law, warning the decision could destabilize the legal system. The ruling doesn't call into question prior cases that relied on the doctrine. Officials with Perry County, the Natural Resource Conservation Service, and homeowners are celebrating as the NRCS provided the first Perry Countyans with home buyout checks. I was able to join them for the exciting day. After the historic July 2022 flood, many Eastern Kentuckians are still picking up the pieces. But on Thursday, Ronald and Patricia Gent closed one chapter in their rebuilding journey.
That's a big lift. It's been a long time. Been frustrating. But yeah, it's good to get rid of it.
The couple received a check for their home from the Natural Resources Conservation Service's home buyout program.
This was a brand new program. We didn't offer a program exactly like this. In the past, it came as a result of the July 2022 flood event here.
Approximately $125 million was split among more than 500 applicants for the NRCS to address each family's unique buyout situation.
Everyone's story is completely different. We tend to get to hear the story of what they went through. It's a very emotional process. You never know what we're going to hear or learn about. It's been pretty crazy to hear some of the stories of what these people went through.
When families receive their NRCS buyout check, they are immediately able to deposit the funds and change their current living arrangement.
You know, you live 2 miles ahead of a holler, you'd never think something like this is going to happen. And it may not ever happen again, but you never know.
The Gents say while the process is taxing, they hope those still waiting are able to remember the light at the end of the tunnel.
No, you can't give up.
No, you have to have patience. A lot of patience.
And they're good to work with. They take care of you.
Yeah.
Can't complain every bit.
The couple says they are excited to live a debt-free life with help from the buyout check. Officials with the NRCS say there will be at least 10 more homes bought within the next week and more than 80 by the end of next year.
Another good start to the day, minus the areas of fog limiting the visibility right now from Hazard back through the Cumberland Valley. We're pretty much all in the 60s, a few exceptions. Cooler, Clintwood and Grundy. Warmer, Jackson to Moorhead and Somerset over toward Monticello. All right, the satellite weather composite. Look at the loop here. There's a few raindrops to the west and northwest of Moorhead about 3-4 o'clock this morning. And we got a little wrinkle that is back that way. Central Kentucky, Ohio Valley. Well, guess what? That little wrinkle here will end up being on top of us as we head through tomorrow. So the slightest risk of a shower. Moorhead, Lexington points north today after the fog burns off and we take a run toward 90. The question for tomorrow, how does that little shower threat play out for us? Those details with the First Alert 7-day forecast coming up in a few moments. Back to you, Madison.
All right, Tim, thanks. And thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. When we return, a defiant President Biden makes the case for why he should stay in the race, but some Democrats still have their doubts.